Howdy y'all, welcome to week 3 of Elementally Intuitive Movement. Now we're focusing on our base. So the first week we focus on the foundation of breath, which is a sphere of attention, breathing through our nostrils, specifically inhaling, exhaling either through the mouth or through the nose. Week 2 we paid attention to our centers. And every day you've been practicing juggling those two balls of attention to the nose and attention to center as you're exploring your sphere with O hands. Yes, yes. So now in week 3, we're going to focus on our feet. That's our base. It's our foundation. And we want to ensure that our knees have longevity as articulations. And the way that our bones line up into the knee joint is a very particular mechanism. So the more balance that we can keep the friction, the wear and tear over the years on our knees, then the more longevity that our knees are likely to have, because there's discs that assist in the process of this movement, this hinge movement that we do. So keeping our feet in alignment, our toes lined up with our knees, and maybe just a little bit out. Just a little bit out, because we're not perfectly, that's a little too, just a little bit, because there's a little bit of a twist there. So getting used to that, and that being our firm foundation. And we practice our first 3 levels, 1 and 2, were stationary spheres. So our base is stationary, but even though our base is stationary, we're still moving, right? Like as we're doing our shimmy here to warm up, we're moving our lower body around and keeping in motion. And as we practice aim, even though our base is stable, is stationary, we're continuing the motion of the lower body as we're moving around with O arms. Shifting orientation, maintaining that alignment of our feet with our knees, and paying attention, checking in. What does that look like? What does that feel like? Now we explore our sphere with our O hands. Still shimming, we're still shimming. Exploring our sphere with our O hands. But we're shifting that foot orientation and getting a sense for how it feels. Rock back and forth into it. Feel it out. How does it feel? Do you feel strong? Do you feel supported? If you don't, shift. If it feels uncomfortable, shift. Initially, if you're used to standing with your feet splayed out or in, it will feel uncomfortable because it's unnatural. It doesn't feel normal to your body. So just work at it gently. Don't force your body quickly into a change. Remind yourself and make it a slow transition into this alignment to help support your knees as you go on through life. So it helps to distribute the ground reaction force that's coming into our bodies. Every time we take a step onto the ground, we're applying force onto the earth, but then the earth pushes back at us. That's ground reaction force, and it travels through our bodies. And when it's coming through our knees, we want it to be even. And when we're applying weight down onto our knees with force, we want that to be even as well, because our knees are getting force from up and below. So we want to keep that stable as much as possible. And we're continuing to breathe. That's a sphere that we're always juggling because we're always breathing. Making aware that we're holding ourselves up, holding our center. Doing our wacky arms. You can do high fives or just shake them around if you want. Whatever you want to do, we're just making them wacky, keeping them moving. The wacky arms, we are consciously kind. Yes, we are collectively kind ones because we're wacky wackos. Shaking out our body tension, warming up our tissues. Getting ready to do our O's. So's, O's. Our hands are connected however we choose to, exploring the different ways that we can explore space while our hands are still connected. And with attention to our feet, really honing into those foot view mirrors and checking in with the orientation of our feet and how are our feet and our toes lining up with our knees, and are they doing it in a way that helps to support the distribution of force through the knee joint. Shift again. So now we're juggling 3 spheres of attention. And next week, that's what we'll be focusing on, is our spheres of attention, and really thinking about the spheres of attention that we're juggling even beyond our breath and our center and our feet. But right now, that's all we have to think about juggling, is our breath, center, and feet as we explore our sphere with our hands as our guides. This whole hand-arm unit. And we explore our near spheres. I enjoy moving through curvilinear planes because it's fun. It's fun. But going through the simpler lines of just following the horizontal planes or the vertical diagonals is fine as well. But add a little bit of curve to it. See how that feels. You'll notice that the entire body has to join in as we go into that curve, so we're really working that center. And our feet have to adapt more to the shifts and changes in our bodies, because the curvilinear motion creates more instability than following a nice straight line that's horizontal or vertical or diagonal. But I challenge myself more by following those curvilinear lines. It's up to you however much you want to do. Mix it up. Every day is different. What you feel like doing. It's interesting to me to think like there's so many ways that we can move and access space with our feet planted and stuck to the ground. And I can feel which are the positions that maybe my body doesn't like so much, so I shift, I move out of it, and then I recognize that doesn't work so well. Maybe I need to shift. Maybe I need to shift my foot. Maybe I need to try a different way. I like practicing aim barefoot when I can, because our feet have so many nerve endings that communicate proprioceptive information to our bodies that gives us a sense information about where our bodies are in space. So when I work barefoot, I'm getting a lot more information through my feet to help keep my body centered and aligned and keep that line of gravity over my center of mass than when I'm wearing shoes. It also makes me more aware to step gently and to move gently with my feet. Particularly because I have a condition that's delayed pressure urticaria. So if I put too much pressure on my feet, I'll get hives that are very uncomfortable. And unfortunately with my feet and hands, they're not just itchy, they also swell, which makes walking kind of challenging. So having that condition initially was not fun. And I was frustrated, but then I recognized that it was teaching me how to move gently and how to step gently. Learning how to tread gently on the earth is important because it helps to reduce the ground reaction force impact on my entire body. So that's another aspect of practicing barefoot, is learning how to move gently and apply gentle force on our feet as we're moving. But if for any reason you can't practice barefoot, that's okay, wear shoes. I had terrible plantar fasciitis for many years, and I couldn't walk barefoot at all. It was too painful. I had to retrain my walk to heal my feet because biomechanically I was walking in a way that was hurting myself. And I walked very hard for many years, stomping through life. And that stomping through life was creating a lot of force on my body that I didn't realize how much force that was generating, that impact was affecting my entire system. So thanks to a strange condition that I developed in reaction to medication, I have been given the opportunity to learn how to move gently and effectively so that I can maintain my vessel in a way that doesn't hurt me or trigger my condition, and in the process, develop this movement program. So sometimes the things that limit us and restrict us are the things that guide us and direct us. Once I stopped being frustrated by the situation and figured out what I could learn from it and how I could grow from it, I started making progress. Having a solid base, solid footing, feeling grounded is important. Trusting our feet, trusting that we're stepping in a way that is going to support us, helps ensure that our bodies feel confident as we're moving through space. If our bodies don't feel confident as we're moving through space, we're more likely to hold tension in our bodies because our nervous systems are trying to protect us from the potential fall that we're dreading, or the potential impact or something. We're dreading something. And when we're dreading something, then our bodies are they will do their best to protect us, and they're gonna hold tension in attempting to protect us. But if we're not really in danger, there's no need for our bodies to hold tension to protect us. If anything, it does us a disservice and our vessels a disservice to hold unnecessary tension. Are you breathing through your nose? Are you holding yourself up? Have you been hinging at the waist? Have you been checking in with your feet? If you drop a ball, it's okay. As we continue this practice and we're juggling more balls, there's an increased likelihood that a ball is going to get dropped. And that's all right. Just pick it back up. Because that's what we're practicing as well. It's the practicing becoming aware of when we've dropped a ball and then picking it back up and putting it back in rotation. Remember, you don't have to do what I'm doing. Whatever I'm doing here is just an example of ways that you can move through space. Your body is your body, your vessel is your vessel. What's most important is that you're following that framework of paying attention to your breath, holding yourself upright, and paying attention to your feet, to the foot position, and ensuring that your feet are placed in a way that helps to support the distribution of force as it goes through your knees to ensure the longevity of that knee joint. At least help support it. Accidents happen. They're gonna happen. But if you're doing your part to help support your body in the meantime, hopefully we'll recover more quickly, and you have a practice to assist your body with recovery that's gentle. We have so many bones in our feet too. It's amazing the amount of bones and muscles that we have in our feet to help support our motions and our movements. So it's nice to appreciate our feet and what they do for us. And recognize that how our feet provide us a stable foundation is very much related to the center. That's why I put the center before feet. Even though our feet are our base, our feet are mobilized by our thighs initially, which are connected to our centers. And if our centers are off balance and wobbly, then our feet are going to have to work a lot harder to compensate for that imbalance and that instability. So that's why first we start with breath, because breathing we do all the time. And next we paid attention to our centers so that we were aware of holding ourselves up. So now it's easier for our feet to provide that stable foundation. This gentle motion that we're doing, the constant motion and rocking, is mobilizing our joints, our ankles, our knees, hips, wrists, elbows, shoulders, even fingers. We're twisting. And as we're paying attention to these different factors, our feet, our breath, our centers, how it feels as we're moving through this particular route of space, as we're exploring our spheres with our hands as our guides, tuning in to what we're feeling in our bodies, but also tuning into our greater environments. Look around. What's happening around you? Appreciate it. So then we get to practice appreciating the sensations within ourselves, appreciating the things we can't control, like a plane flying overhead, but recognizing that even those things that we can't control will pass in their own time. And practicing taking the reins on that which we can't control, which is this, our vessels. Breathing. Slowly, so that our nervous systems recognize that we're safe. Can increase the speed to increase our cardiovascular challenge and our destabilization challenge. The more quickly we move, the more force we're going to start feeling on our feet as we're moving, as our bodies have to compensate for the motions that we're doing. And with just these few minutes a day, we're getting a full body workout. Really, everything is getting used. And we're learning these new maps of motion. We're figuring out these different ways that our bodies can access space in our spheres. Our particular bodies with our particular dimensions, because everybody's different. So it's important to learn to listen to our bodies and accommodate as needed. Just because somebody can do something a particular way doesn't mean that we can. We shouldn't expect ourselves to do what other people do the way that they do it, nor should we expect other people to do the way that we do things. Because we're all different, we're all unique. Despite our shared biomechanical structure. Practice your aim with curiosity. The more curious you are, the faster time will pass. And before you know it, your aim practice has extended from 5 minutes to 15 minutes to 30. And while sometimes it seems like you're doing the same things or similar movements, it's never quite the same thing or similar movements, because there's always some sort of shift or change. What we're thinking about changes. How we're feeling changes. So nothing is ever exactly the same. That's why being adaptable to change benefits us. Oh, I was going a little bit into level 1. It was still kind of O. There was a connection there, but it wasn't my hands being connected. Level O, we want our hands connected, but so many ways. They can rotate around each other. Just be fingers. And all right, so there we go. Our O for today, focusing on our feet and our centers and our breath, juggling those 3 spheres of perception. And next week, we're gonna go even more in depth into those spheres of perception and all of the other things that we're always juggling as we process and explore through our lives. And we'll end out with some bagalizing. I think I'm gonna do some laughing vowels today. Do some fancy laughing vowels first. One more. Thank you so much. And that was week 3. Looking forward to week 4 and enjoy. Thank you.